Oh my gosh, this is tickling my feet. I don't like it. The newest generation of Pokemon is around the corner. The last corner, because it's already out. And with every new generation comes a barrage of skepticism regarding Game Freak's ability to make new Pokemon. Such as Psychic Kissing Fish and the Daisy Chain Fairymon. And each time, you have to remind them that Generation 1 introduced a crab Pokemon called Krabby. So, with that out of the way, Generation 7 does something quite strange. It gave some older Pokemon signature abilities. Or, no, signature attacks. Ariados. How do you even say it? I've never actually pronounced it out loud. Ariados. The Spinarak receiving Toxic Thread, Crocodile Power Trip, and Heatmore receiving Fire Lash. And that got me thinking. Actually, it didn't. I've had this idea for a long time, but those additions fit in nicely and are quite interesting. And Machamp got strength. Very. And that got me thinking. What other moves are in the game that are so fucking shit no one uses them? So I had to decide on the parameters. So it's as follows. Shit moves are the ones that you won't use in-game for the main story as any player with a brain, and moves that are also crap in all forms of competitive. So that's VGC, 6v6, whatever else people actually play. My VGC knowledge is limited due to repulsion, but put nicely. And fuck that, I'm not playing some shitty doubles crap in less nice terms. So let's start the list off. This isn't going to be a top 10. I mean, it could be, but there's a nicer climate here in obscurity than there is in hell, so let's just do them all. Meditate. It's a Generation 1 attack that raises the attack stat by 1 with no other effects. It's quite a rare move. Maybe you've seen it when you scroll through the move relearner. And its obscurity comes from the fact that of the physically oriented Pokemon that learn it, all but one learn a better version of the move known as Bulk Up, which not only raises the attack stat by 1, it also raises defense by 1. And in Generation 5 and 7, there is a move called Work Up, which is a very common boosted move, giving 1 attack and 1 special attack to a Pokemon. Another TM, which has infinite uses in later generations. So there's very rarely a reason to use Meditate. In most cases, if those two moves aren't enough to eclipse Meditate's purpose in the game, Power Up Punch also exists. Outclasses Meditate in that it does a small amount of damage alongside giving the +1 boost to attack. The other Pokemon that learn Meditate are Mr. Mime, Jinx, and Drowsy. Drowsy is okay. I can see why you'd want to do that over Carmine, because you're a quirky guy. But fucking hell. But physical Mr. Mime, double slapping up Jinx and 45 physical attack, 90 speed, and for Jinx 50 attack, 95 speed. For some perspective of how piss poor those sets are, a Frogadier with Work Up is more of an offensive threat than Mr. Mime and Jinx are, the serial double slapping duo. A Jumpluff with Swords Dance is actually starting to look viable when you throw about the words physical Mr. Mime. My solution, also a reason why top 10 doesn't work for this, all of the Pokemon who learn Meditate have high special defense. Change the move into a +1 attack, +1 special defense. So for the fighting Pokemon who learn it, it gives them an additional option. And Mr. Mime can go fuck itself. Fire Blast, Thunder, Blizzard, and Hydro Pump. These moves are often cited as being the strongest of their respective type, but time and time again you can disprove this compared to their younger brothers or little brothers, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Surf. Currently the most powerful attacks have 110 base power and an accuracy from 70 to 85. And all of the strongest attacks currently have a base power of 90 and have 100 accuracy. If you are missing 30 to 15% of your attacks, you've lost 30 to 15% of your damage over a large amount of attacks. If you are losing 33 to 16 of your base power due to that accuracy lacking, to the consistent 90 base power, only Fire Blast is truly a stronger attack. Also, the most powerful moves have half the PP, making them shaky accuracy even more punishing. The other most powerful moves, the worst offenders are the recharge moves, however. Back in Generation 1 on the handhelds, if you collected a KO with a recharge move, you wouldn't have to recharge. Granted, there was only one in Hyper Beam, which meant there was a special niche or reason to run a Gengar or a Golem, but I wonder if you could bring that mechanic back. Currently these recharge attacks are only available to starter Pokemon with Blast Burn, Frenzy Plant, Hydro Cannon, and a few other Pokemon that can learn Roar of Time and Rock Wrecker. Giga Impact and Hyper Beam are widely available, so I don't know if it's actually a realistic change to make to give Pokemon another very powerful clean-up attack.
How's that?
Snore! Introduced alongside Rest and Sleep Talk in Generation 2, Snore has always been an awful move, boasting less power than Swift and only being allowed to use while asleep. In comparison to Sleep Talk, which gives you access to any of your other three moves, Snore is just an incredibly underwhelming attack. It's the only change you could realistically do is you boost its base power to like 80. Even then, I don't know if you want to use it over Sleep Talk, because then you could just hit them with returns while you're asleep. Detect!
It assumes a protective.
Another Generation 2 attack. Detect is a move only available. I shouldn't say only available. Detect is a move that has half the PP and availability of Protect. Due to that, it might make you think that Detect has something up its sleeve. Well, you're wrong. Even in the gen where it was introduced, you could buy Protect from the Golden Road department store. Detect offered nothing over Protect, and has always been obsolete. And it makes even less sense as well during the newer generations, where moves like King Shield, Spiky Shield, and Baneful Bunker have been introduced that are all quite fun little changes to Protect, while Detect has nothing going for it, despite not being a TM, only being learnable by a few Pokemon. Incredible game. Blah blah blah. Submission's another rare attack. Originally in the game in Generation 1 is widely available for use TM, due to a large portion of the Pokemon there learning it. However, it's lost its TM status over time and has been replaced by Brick Break. To put them in a direct comparison, Brick Break has 75 power to Submission's 80, Brick Break has 100 accuracy to Submission's 80, and Brick Break also has the added benefit of breaking screens like Reflect, Light Screen, and I presume Aurora Veil. I don't know how you'd break that, but I assume it can. And if that isn't enough of a reason to run Brick Break over Submission, Submission also has 25% recoil. That recoil adds a disgusting proposition to this move. As such, you would never use it in the story mode because recoil is awful for killing Pokemon. And its rarity, and by being outclassed by moves like Cross Chop, Brick Break, Close Combat, even Low Sweep, and better moves, and just standard moves like Superpower and High Jump Kick, means it won't get used in a serious battle either. Why not increase the power? Increase the accuracy and power to bring it in line with the other 1/4 recoil moves like Flare Blitz, Double Edge, Wood Hammer, and Brave Bird. Is there a reason not to? No. Submission's quite a rare attack. I think something like 30 Pokemon learn it.
What'll it do?
There's a Present's another rare move introduced in Generation 2, alongside other powerful type normal moves, Return and Frustration. I think they also buffed Double Edge in that generation, but I could be wrong. The move is the only one that Delibird learns by level up, a gimmick move for a gimmick Pokemon, but it does have the potential to have 120 base power. All of the Pokemon that can learn Present through breeding can also learn Return and Double Edge. So, what is the reason to ever use Present in those scenarios? There are a few Pokemon now. The few Pokemon that learn it and could use it effectively are the Pichu line, the Marill line, the Miltank line, the Snubble line, and the Igglybuff line. And they aren't particularly strong Pokemon, except Marill. Marill will kill everything. So, I ask why hasn't Present's effectiveness been changed to match its rarity? It could retain its gimmick in some regard as well if you base it on PP. If the move has 5 PP, and at high PP it has a high base power, and the lower it goes, the less it has due to less Presence, and the last one being the gimmick heal at the bottom of the sack. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe. But you could just keep it as a gimmick. I think Present's a fun move. It doesn't have to change, but I like the animation of throwing a fucking parcel at something and watching it die. And I'd rather use it in battle. Wouldn't you? Maybe. It's up for discussion. The whole thing is, that's why it's such a good fucking topic. Razor Wind. Razor Wind. Charge up and have less damage than Body Slam. That's all you need to know about this move. It's really bad. It does have a small niche using Power Herb and Unburden, but fucking Razor Wind, man. It's just shit. It's just so shit. Who made it? Ah! Pound. Back in the day, Tackle used to have 35 base power and 95 accuracy. Now it is a 50 power and 100. And due to that, Pound has been left in the dark. Originally, Pound was the stronger of the two and more accurate, but it was also much rarer, being only available on bigger, slower Pokemon such as Drowsy, Chansey, Jigglypuff, Clefairy. Maybe Pokemon with small hands? Small finger things. Anyway, now that Tackle is stronger, Pound is useless. I don't suggest any kind of change, just bring Pound up to 50 base power. Or give it... actually no, don't change it. Fuck it. Leave that move there. A relic of Generation 2 and 1. Embargo. You might remember Champion Cynthia Spiritomb using this move back in Diamond and Pearl. And you read the text. Like, holy shit, I can't use my items. All those OP full restores and revives amounting to nothing against a trainer who probably has Pokemon that are 20 levels higher. But then you realise it wears off after 5 turns. Yeah, whatever. It's a move only the NPC needs to use because the NPCs don't use items when you play. And even then, it doesn't last long enough to have its wanted effect. Meanwhile, the player has access to moves like in a player versus player battle where bag items can't be used. The only items you'll be getting rid of are things like leftovers and berries or life orbs. And even in those cases, there are other attacks such as knockoff, thief, and it says assurance, but that's just because assurance is an obsolete move. We have knockoff and thief. Anyway, the next one, thief and assurance. Since knockoff's buff, essentially becoming a 97.5 base power dark attack, these moves have been left in the dark. Thief was always a bit of a gimmick, since you had to find a way to give up your item to steal theirs. In Generation 2 it was actually quite a good attack because of its ability to remove, because you were guaranteed to steal the leftovers, because that's all anyone fucking ran. It was leftovers, 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 leftovers. With like Sharp Beak Dodrio, because that Pokemon's fucking awful. But since that buff to knockoff from a 20 base power attack to a 65 base power attack, the other two look very lackluster. Assurance is a 50 base power move that doubles in power if another Pokemon has hit that Pokemon already. And Thief is on this list, but it shouldn't be, I don't think, because Thief is very useful for stealing items from wild Pokemon. To bring Assurance into line with Knockoff, you could raise its power to 60, 65, maybe even 70. And then its doubling attack, its doubling strength would be very potent. And have strategies revolving around it in doubles, which no one plays. Other moves that for some reason haven't had their fucking reasons explained out long enough. Double Slap. Double Slap is a weak move that has 75 base power at max, 30 at its lowest, and 85 accuracy, because 75 power is too much. It's a common early attacking move for Pokemon like Mr. Mime and Clefairy, because Double Slap is obviously more effective than Pound. Withdraw. It's an alternative to Harden. That's its niche. I don't get it. Why? Water Sport and Mud Sport. What the fuck are those? Worry Seed has a very small niche as a way to stop wild Pokemon that use Rest a lot, such as Regigigas and Snorlax. But outside of those events, I don't think it's any fucking use. Camouflage. Camouflage is shit, don't use it. Bubble Beam and Water Pulse. The game already has Water Gun, why does it need random fucking attacks? Just go Water Gun Surf, that's basically what everyone fucking does. Deals damage and has no secondary effects. I compare them to Return because Return is the fucking, like, the best move ever for normal type Pokemon. But Mega Punch is 80 base power, 85% accuracy. Egg Bomb is 100 base power, 75% accuracy. And I think there's more. I think Mega Kick also has a fucking stupid amount of shit on it. Thank you all for your time. I feel like I'm dying.